Okay, this is a video on Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go, and in this video I'm going to be analysing the opening two sentences and the final sentence. Now, lots of my students really struggle when completing papers on this, on AO2, which is our analysis of language, form and structure. So I'm going to be paying particular attention to that as I look at these sentences. Obviously, structure, if you're looking at the very first and the very last sentence, you're going to be implicitly and hopefully explicitly talking about the structure of the novel. And if you kind of zoom in on some of the techniques that we're going to be looking at as well, that will be getting your subject terminology in for this. So, the very first sentence of the novel is, "My name is Kathy H." Initially, this seems like a very simple statement. Obviously, the opening of the novel, our beginning, is called the exposition, and in the exposition it's the author's intention to introduce us to setting, character, theme, and "My name is Kathy H" seems to pretty explicitly introduce us to our main character, our protagonist. However, this seemingly simple sentence is actually quite enigmatic. Why has she introduced herself as Kathy H? Why not just use her first name, Kathy, or her full name, Kathy Havisham, or whatever she's called? Why just Kathy H? And obviously, as we read more of the text, we learn that these clones that live at Hailsham were only given initials for their second name, but it immediately makes the reader question why she's got that. It makes us intrigued, and it's also slightly disturbing. She then, in the second sentence, says, "I'm 31 years old and I've been a carer now for over 11 years. Again, it seems to be simple, her age, her job, but if you start to dig under the surface, it raises some questions. She says that she's been a carer now and seems to assume that we know what a carer is for over 11 years. And the fact that she specifies exactly how long she's been a carer for suggests that this is something unusual. If I was to introduce myself, I'd say, "My name is Charlotte Morris, I'm 25 years old and I'm a teacher." I wouldn't go into, I've been a teacher for 4.5 years now. You just wouldn't. So the fact that she feels the need to specify this suggests that it's something unusual. Obviously, in this first sentence, Ishiguro is showing that he's using a first-person narrative, and Kathy H gives us quite a conversational or colloquial, chatty tone. She seems quite confessional as well. "My name is Kathy H" sounds like something you'd hear at an AA meeting almost. So we get the sense that we're going to have quite an intimate relationship with her as she's very chatty towards us, and we get the feeling that we're going to feel quite emphatic towards her, or Ishiguro is going to want us to feel very sympathetic. However, the fact that he chooses to write in first-person narrative does automatically give us a clue that she might be an unreliable narrator. We might not be able to trust everything that she says. And certainly as we read through the novel, we get the sense that we can't quite trust her. She assumes things about us. She says, "I don't know how it was where you were." And we also kind of assume things about her which later turn out to be false. We assume that we can trust her, we assume that we can believe her, but she leaves things out. We get the sense that it's her side, she's giving her view of the situation, which again is a very narrow view, and she might not be telling us the whole truth. She also might not realise the whole truth. For example, later on in Hailsham, when Kathy loses her Never Let Me Go tape, the reader gets the sense that it's Ruth that's actually stolen this tape, but Kathy as a narrator doesn't guess this, or she doesn't want to believe it, so she ignores it, and we're left to kind of work through the clues to work it out herself. Because she also places so much importance on being a carer, the reader anticipates an ellipsis. The reader anticipates that we're going to have some sort of flashback. We're going to at her role as a carer, which we do. And Ishiguro's framing of this novel, the constant flashbacks and flash forwards, the flitting, the toing and froing between past and present and future and past, is one of the defining moments, one of the defining characteristics of his novel. So we already get the sense of that distorted timescale from these opening two sentences. The final sentence then says, "I just waited a bit, then turned back to the car to drive off to wherever it was I was supposed to be." Just like the opening of the novel's called an exposition, the closing of a novel's called a resolution. However, what I want to argue is that we don't actually resolve anything at all. We've had this almost circular narrative. She starts off talking about her life in Hailsham, talking about her memories, what's happened in her life, and she ends in exactly the same place. Nothing's actually happened, nothing's been resolved. She's still been thinking about her memories, and then it's finished. She's finished recollecting them. It therefore gives us, this final sentence, a tone of passivity and resignation. She just waits, she turns, she drives wherever she's supposed to be. She hasn't done anything in the novel. She's just retrospectively thought about her life, what's happened, and nothing's been done. And this is something that lots of critics have talked about. Andrew Barrow talks about the clones, and he says, have they been brainwashed not to care? Theo Tare says for the Hailsham students there are no efforts to argue and no redress. And lots of them don't do anything, or in fact none of them does anything about being a clone. None of them decides to go into hiding. None of them decides to fight back against the government. They just accept it. Kathy being one of the ones who accepts everything that's thrown at her. She doesn't kind of chase Tommy. She doesn't really talk to Ruth about what's bothering her. She just kind of lies back and accepts everything that happens. This therefore quite obviously links to the theme of loss. She's lost all hope, she's lost all chance of a future as she goes to drive off to wherever it was she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be a clone, she's supposed to donate her organs. So we get the sense that this is a very kind of pessimistic ending. However, it could be looked at in an alternative way. We could think that this gives us, or this explores the theme of longing. Perhaps by telling this story, perhaps by telling the reader all her memories, it's been a cathartic experience. She needed to get everything off her chest, and now she can move on. She can move on to wherever it was she was supposed to be. She doesn't have to live in the past, be ruled by her memories and her recollections. Now that she's had this cathartic experience of, again, confessional, telling us these all, she can move on. So you can also argue that this gives us this theme of longing, this theme of hope, this idea that now that she's said everything, she can move on.